From the entertainment capitals of the world, from television, nightclub, stage, and screen, wherever laughter is king, it's One Man Show. And here, from the who's who of comedy, leading the laugh parade, the one man is Groucho Marx.
You know, over the years, many organizations have invited me to do a one-man show. But because of my innate modesty and lack of talent, I've always shied away from these invitations. So I came here tonight reluctantly. My original plan was to go to the dentist. As the star of one-man show, it is unfortunate that I don't have any outstanding characteristic or peculiarities. That is, that I can talk about. Well, what can they say about me? How can they bounce laughs off a man who is perfect? My features are classic. My muscles are like whipcord. And when I walk the streets, people say, there goes Groucho. He looks like a Greek god. I think they mean Onassis. Well, the fact is, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and as for my sex life, it would be laughable were it not so tragic. Let me give you a sample day. I hop out of bed at the crack of dawn. At 7 on the nose, I have a gallon of prune juice, 7 slices of whole wheat toast, a touch of marmalade, and a pot of hot water. After brushing my teeth, I watch Woody Woodpecker and Captain Kangaroo. At 9, I take a nap until noon. Then, if my wife is out shopping, I watch Divorce Code. After that, I brush my teeth and take a nap until 5:30. 5:30 is the hour I look forward to. We call it the cocktail hour. We each have a glass of cranberry juice, a cheese dip, and a package of Sensen. At 6, we eat our big meal. Yummy yogurt, Applejack, and a sprinkling of sunflower seeds. At 6:30, we watch Bugs Bunny and his madcap friends entertain each other with zany antics. At 7, we take 2 straight back chairs and face to face, we give each other a pedicure. At 7:30, we watch Supermarket Sweep and Social Security in action. And then we fly off into slumberland, eagerly looking forward to what thrills the next day has in store for us. And now I'm off to the dentist to pull out all of his teeth.
Ladies and gentlemen, oh, we got beautiful people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your announcer, Ed Jordan, and during this segment, Groucho has been kind enough to consent to answer questions from our studio audience. Should be a lot of fun, so let's get to it. Groucho, you out there?
Groucho was asleep while he was talking.
Does anybody have a question? How about this lady right here? Yes, ma'am.
Groucho, what do you think of women?
What did you say? Would you repeat that question?
What do you think of women?
Constantly.
Is there another question? Hey, we have one right here. Groucho.
Groucho, what do you think, would a woman make a good president?
Well, she could try. I don't know how susceptible he would be.
Thank you. You have a question for Groucho.
What would you do if you were a college professor?
Well, college professor. I think I'd hide until the semester was over.
Any more questions? Huh? Who has a question for Groucho? Here's one right here. Yes, young lady.
Groucho, how do
This girl here? I've got a question for her later.
How do you feel about computer dating?
Oh, I feel about them all the time.
On that note, we have a gentleman, Groucho.
You think Johnson was an ideal president?
Do I think what?
Johnson was an ideal president.
Well, he is now.
Groucho, we have a gentleman that looks rather eager with a question. Huh?
How do you know he's a gentleman?
Well, I don't know, but he's been waving his arm frantically, feverishly almost.
Well, that's pure conjecture on your
I
part
wish
that
I
he's a
had said that.
gentleman.
I don't understand it.
No. It's a good thing I don't understand what I said either. Well, what is this man? Is he?
I don't know.
What
Here
is
he
his
is.
profession?
I don't know, Groucho.
Groucho, how can I get to be a comedian?
I was going to ask you the same question. Well, I don't know. Do you want to come up here and discuss the problem? Well, you walk like a comedian. Is that your regular profession?
No,
No.
I'm a lawyer.
You're a lawyer?
Yes, yes.
I want to ask you, you want to abandon that profession and you want to be a comic, is that it?
Right, Groucho.
Well, could you tell me a few jokes? Give me a few samples of your talents as a comedian?
I think if I told you how I got into law, you would certainly agree that I ought to be a comedian.
Uh-huh.
You see,
You might also get arrested.
that's good, you know. You see, I grew up in a neighborhood, Groucho, that had loads of immigrant people. And, matter of fact, our block was the only one that had an American consulate on it.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result,
Pardon me, just a minute. Is that one of the jokes?
no, I'm getting to the joke. That's sort of it's a custom.
I see. I just want to know, that's all. In the future, can you warn me when there's a joke coming? Like they do if there's a train coming, raise a red flag or something? I mean, I need some evidence, just as when you were a lawyer. You needed evidence, or your opponent needed evidence. I'm going to need evidence that you want to be a comedian.
Well, I think if I let you
So far, you'd be indicted, I think.
I think if I let you look at some of my cases or briefs,
Well, how much do you get a case?
Well, I think my first fee, one fee I got. You know, lawyers remember their fees like a girl remembers her first kiss. The first
You think
fee,
they always do?
lawyers or a girl?
No, girls.
I never having been a girl, but I would imagine yes. Yeah.
Well, you've kissed many a lawyer, haven't you?
No.
Now then, would you proceed with the jokes?
Well, I was telling you about my first case. You see, my first case was gotten for me by my father, because lawyers are not allowed to solicit. But there's nothing that says their fathers can. So my father had cards printed up. Sam Nicklin, father of lawyer. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Well,
Did your mother solicit too, or just your father?
My mother did the typing.
I see.
She would type these letters in the kitchen, and they would go out.
There's no cooking went on there at all.
No, not at all.
Just typing.
Right. Matter of fact, letters would go out with food on it, and everybody knew what we were having for dinner that night. You know, the judges and the police commissioners. After 6
Did you
months,
smear the judge?
the food. That's all.
Just food.
Yeah.
Must have had a very hungry courtroom, huh?
Well, after 6 months, Groucho, I got 3 offers to go into the restaurant business.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it's right.
I'll tell you an old joke and see if maybe you can use it.
All right.
This is a very old joke. This is about an actor who was playing a vaudeville and he got laryngitis. It's a small town, and he inquired around if there was a doctor in town who could take care of him, because he wouldn't be able to sing anymore on the stage unless he could get cured of this. So he came to a small house, and out front was a sign that says, Dr. Smith. He rings the bell, and a very beautiful young girl comes to the door. And he can barely talk. And he says, is the doctor in? And she says, no, come on in. This gentleman on my left is more or less a stranger to me. His name is, I think it's Mr. Allen. Is that right?
Alan Abel.
Alan Abel?
That's right. That's right.
Very interesting name. It's kind of a familiar name. Like Ethan Allen?
No relation.
No relation. You have some relatives,
Well, we've only traced them back to the 12th century, but the tree doesn't go back further.
I can trace my relatives back to last week. And I found out who I was. This gentleman, as I understand it, has a very curious profession. And perhaps it would be better if he told you himself what he does for a living. I don't know if it's his living or his hobby. At any rate, Mr. Ethan Allen, would you mind explaining to the audience what you do?
Certainly. I work for a private foundation, the Society Against Indecency to Naked Animals. We are concerned that animals are running around in the nude, and we have millions of dollars in our private foundation, but we want to educate people about the need to clothe all animals that stand higher than 4 inches or are longer than 6. Well,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do you measure them?
Well, we use an ordinary tape measure. You have to begin somewhere. For example, I can spot a naked dog at 50 feet. And
I can spot a naked lamb at 75 feet.
For example, we have discovered through our research study groups that there are more highway accidents due to the fact people take their eyes off the highway to look at a naked cow and bull, and they run into a truck or a tree. Now, on the New Jersey Turnpike, there are 8,000 naked horses and cows grazing along the highway. Their heads are down in shame. Those animals are ashamed.
Have you spoken to some of these animals?
Well, we've tried to relate to pets, and you can reason with them.
You can, huh?
Yes. For
Did you
example...
ever try to reason with a bull?
No, I don't get into the larger sized animals. But I would like to warn people out there to keep away from the Jersey Turnpike with all the nudity. We've declared that highway a moral disaster area. And as far as our contact with pets, we have found on a very high frequency. For example, this sound of the tuning fork can be heard by hundreds of thousands of animals out there.
Now, is this a male or a female?
Well, sex isn't important. It really
It
isn't.
is to me.
Well, with animals, it's a little different.
It's hopeless, but it's certainly important.
Here is our founder's horse in Bermuda shorts. I don't know if you can see this or not. But this is a very decently dressed horse in Bermuda shorts. I show you that now. Here is an elephant that we clothed only last summer.
Who's only half naked?
But we clothed an important part. Now here
Well,
is...
I would think the part that where the elephant eats would be the most important part.
Well, an elephant is a
Apparently,
very...
you don't think so. Suppose you covered up this part of the elephant, and the elephant would starve.
Well, I don't follow.
Would you want to have an elephant on your hands?
No, I wouldn't. As a matter of fact, I have a garment in this bag, which I will show you, for either a kangaroo or an elephant or a very large giraffe. Now, this is a half slip for a cow. That's very decent.
You only get 2 quarts of milk instead of 4.
Now, we have an emotional stability test that helps us weed out the crackpots and oddballs who would like to infiltrate our organization. After all, there are a lot of peeping toms, a lot of people who can't get into anything. And they feel that by joining our...
I have no answer for that at all.
These are walking shorts. These are, I'm sorry, these
More
are...
like running shorts to me.
Well, no, these are actually loincloths for a dog that wants to feel free. And
What would you do about a snake?
we're not interested in anything that crawls.
Huh?
We're not interested in any animal that crawls or reptiles. No, because they are hidden by their natural
I'll
habitat.
never look under my bed.
I mean, after all, you
There's more
take...
things crawling under my bed.
There are a lot of animals in the jungle. They're covered by their natural fur or by the foliage. We're interested only in domestic pets that stand higher than 4 inches or longer than 6, namely horses, cows, dogs, and cats.
I see.
Now, these
I have a domestic pet in the kitchen in my house. A very good cook.
Now, these are pantaloons for a nice kangaroo, or if you have a pet deer, you could use those. This, of course, is a pair of bloomers with a tailgate.
I thought it was a balloon.
No. And this, I might show you, is, of course, our elephant drawers. And we, of course, have clothed an elephant and also a giraffe.
Could we get
with
somebody up here to try that on?
I don't think it would work that way. Now, we have a house organ, and...
Do you play it very well? Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Suppose a farmer has 100 cows.
Right.
A prosperous farmer.
Yes.
Now he's got them clothed.
Yes.
How is he going to milk 100 cows in the morning around 5 o'clock?
Well, these cows would actually help milk one another. Yes, once an animal is dressed, he becomes decent. You take a clothed dog and tell him to get off the couch, he will. He'll be obedient. You take a dressed cow and say, okay, it's milking time. We have a lab in New Jersey that does nothing but take clothes on and off cows all day long.
Must be a lot of degenerates out here.
No, these are moral people. After all, we're interested in morality and decency. Our motto is decency today means morality tomorrow. And remember, a nude horse is a rude horse. I have that framed over my desk in our office. This is the kind
Your
of...
office must be a mess, isn't it? I want to thank you for this liberal education you've given this audience out here. And I'm sure that I wish we could play along with our time. Thank you very much.
You know, like just about everybody here, I guess, I'm sure each and every one, I've been a Groucho Marx fan for, well, ever since I can remember. And, you know, Groucho, I guess I must have seen just about every picture you've made at least 4 or 5 times. And, well, they're all classics today.
You're a glutton for punishment.
I certainly am for that kind of punishment. But, Groucho, I understand the word is out that they're making a Broadway musical based on the life of the Marx Brothers.
The Marx Brothers as kids.
As kids?
Yes, up to the age of 18. Just our childhood. You know, like Charlie Brown, you know that show?
It's not going to have anything to do with you as performers?
Well, the kids that are going to play the parts will be 12, 14, 16, and 18.
So where did it all start then, Groucho? Let's get the inside story on the Marx Brothers.
Where we started,
where were you born, for instance?
I was born in 78th Street and Lexington Avenue.
Oh, you're homegrown.
How it started was, I guess, that I was down at Coney Island. I was 14 years old. And the man offered me $1 if I'd stand on a beer keg and sing a song. So I sang the song, and I graduated into show business. I thought this was a very easy way of making a living. It hasn't been this afternoon, but I mean in general. I had an uncle who was very famous in show business. It was my mother's brother. And I'm sure you heard the song he and his partner made famous, which was, "Oh, Mr. Gulligan, oh, Mr. Gulligan, what's on your mind this morning, Mr. Sheen?" Oh, that's the way he sang. It became a tremendous hit. And he was a big star at that time. But when my mother saw that she had 5 boys, when she saw how much money her brother was making, Al Sheen, she decided that we were all going to be in show business.
Groucho, how did you ever come upon the walk that became so famous? How did it first start? When did you use it?
Desperation, I imagine. Because we originally started as singers. It was called the Four Nightingales, and none of us could sing. And we were playing at the Howard Theater in Boston. It was a burlesque house at the time, and they used to cater mostly to sailors and soldiers. And we were singing a song, and they had boxes on both sides of the stage. They were quite low. And as we were marching along singing the song was called "How Would You Like to Be My Sweetheart?" And a sailor was chewing gum, not gum, but tobacco, in the first box on that side. And his harpo got up under that box there. The sailor spit in his eye with the tobacco drops. So we decided that we wouldn't go that far with our act, that we would try to get some comedy in the act.
Who made the first decision not to have Harpo ever say anything?
Well, we discovered when we started doing an act together that he wasn't a great conversationalist.
That explains that.
We decided to make him a deaf mute. And after that, he found that was very simple and easy, and he never spoke. And I spoke the best of the boys, because I was the only one that ever read a book. The others always shot pool. I didn't become a good amateur shooting pool. And Chico was a great pool player, and so was...
So how did Chico ever get his name? What does it represent, Chico?
Chico's name, because in the old days, young girls were called chickens. You know, they called them chicken chasers. Like in England, they have a name for them now. It isn't, it's birds in England. And in this country, they used to call them chickens. Well, Chico chased so many dames that we called him Chicken. And then later, we got shortened to Chico, and that became his name.
Did he catch many?
He caught more than the other 3 together.
Somebody said that I should ask you, before I forget, about
what I'm doing
story. Why are you wearing that silly hat? No. Why are you wearing that silly hat? No, I think that's your golf.
It used to be my golf hat. And then when I got sick and tired of playing golf, I just used it as a kind of a gag. Well, it's easier than wearing a toupee, and I haven't got that much hair anymore. You know, the hair gets...
I wasn't going to
that
say
funny. It isn't that funny. I could paint hair on here, you know, like many of them do. But I have too much pride for that, and I don't really care.
As I started to say, I've got to ask you to tell us a story about Sam Goldwyn.
Oh, I don't know if they'd be interested in that. At any rate, he was a very close friend of Harpo's. They used to play poker together. And whenever I met Sam Goldwyn, he would say to me, because I wasn't a close friend of his, he'd say, "How's your brother Harpo? He's a fine fellow. I admire him a great deal." So after about 30 years of this greeting, I said to him one day in a restaurant, I said, "Why do you always ask me how my brother Harpo is? Why don't you ask me how I am?" He says, "I will someday, but right now, how's your brother Harpo?"
Groucho, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, Groucho. Thank you for dropping by. Groucho.